WinRAR, the only software in the world that lets you use it for 40 days for free and then forces you to pay. Unless you don't want to, in which case you just click the close button on the pop-up and you're allowed to use the program forever without paying. No strings attached, no restrictions on functionality. This genius strategy of just not letting people pay for your program has paid WinRAR $21 million last year, and it might just be the most genius business strategy the world has ever seen. And here's why. Imagine you have an app that you want people to use and pay $15 for. Let's call it Photobop. But there's a problem. People won't pay to use a program if they don't know they like it, but they also can't use Photobop if they don't pay. So you introduce a free trial for 30 days, and then after the trial ends, they tell them to either have to pay or get out. But what happens if you just let them use the program afterwards anyways? People might start thinking you made an oversight, and they'll keep using the program because they're saving money. They effectively got something for free, and then they'll start telling their friends, who will start using your program. And those friends will tell more friends, who will come and use your program and start telling more friends, and this is what WinRAR did. By letting people use the software freely forever, it had a really easy time blowing up its user base. And because of its extremely unconventional business practices, it's become known worldwide by its 500 million people user base as that one program that has an infinite free trial period, a title no other software in the world has. It's almost like WinRAR's soft power and has unintentionally become the first strategy in existence where becoming an internet meme is actually important. Even if the developers didn't intend it, the program's infinite trial period has become a permanent part of internet culture. We've all seen at one point or another jokes around the internet poking fun at WinRAR. Some people are even really proud that they've never paid for WinRAR, as if they won some game of capitalism by outsmarting the system, when in reality, this is what WinRAR actually wants. Speaking of, thanks so much for all the support on the channel lately. It really means a lot, and I want to give something back to you guys. So do you need a job? That sounded a bit weird. But whether you're a UX designer, app developer, freelancer, or just a curious viewer, I want to get to know you guys, share some UX and UI tips, and maybe even get a gig. So I made a Discord channel for us and want to make this the place to be for front-end professionals. And I'm having talks with people to get some employers in there so you can connect with them too and find some jobs in the future. I'm really excited to get this thing started, so I hope you'll join me. WinRAR's position as a crazy, powerful, free forever tool has given it a monopoly over what it does, being the tool to create and manage archives, along with compressing and decompressing file formats like RAR, which the developers of WinRAR came up with in the first place, zip, and a bunch of other lesser-known ones that people throw around. But make no mistake, this get a monopoly for free strategy only works because WinRAR is so good at what it does. Compression, file packing, and ensuring your data stays intact with checksums like CRC32 and Blake2 are all things it does beautifully, and completely for free. Need to protect sensitive information? WinRAR has you covered with encryption options. Working with large files? It can split them into smaller, more manageable parts. It's a simple yet powerful way to keep your files organized, secure, and easy to share. If WinRAR was a complete garbage program, then this entire strategy would fail because, well, no one would ever want to use it. And because WinRAR is giving itself to people for free, it leverages the psychological effect of reciprocity. When someone does you a favor, you feel just a tad bit more inclined to do a favor back. And if WinRAR is doing you the favor of letting you use it for free, some people will do it the favor of giving it word of mouth, turn it into a meme, or yes, even paying for something that they technically don't need to pay for. But relying on the kindness of random strangers isn't going to make you $21 million a year. Not even close. But that's where the misconception comes in. This $21 million a year isn't coming from random strangers, it's coming from random companies. WinRAR, if you take a look at its financial core, is a B2B software which just happens to be used by the average consumer because of the whole infinite free trial thing. But when companies use WinRAR, they're legally obligated to use licensed software to avoid potential issues, whether that be be compliance issues, audits, or even legal troubles. For these companies, paying a small fee, typically under $30 per license, is a minor expense compared to the risks of non-compliance or just pure embarrassment. Imagine a company like Amazon or Microsoft getting caught using WinRAR unlicensed. Beyond any fines, it would be a reputational disaster. A billion-dollar company scrimps so much that they're not willing to pay $30 a license for WinRAR? That's actually pathetic. And it's not like WinRAR is charging different prices to consumers or companies either. It's all pretty much the same price range. They even have an affordable pricing structure that offers volume discounts for bulk purchases, which we all know companies love. And even if they can't leverage the bulk discounts, smaller teams and companies still benefit from the fact that the regular WinRAR pricing structure is just $30 a license with no strings attached. All this means that WinRAR has pretty much got itself a more or less consistent stream of revenue, not because it's trying to trick people into buying it, but just because it's the tool, the only tool that most people know to do what it does. Companies get to have it for cheap, consumers get to have it for free, and WinRAR becomes de facto number one. Everyone's happy, everyone wins. But here's where I'm going to have to pop your bubble. WinRAR is not a saint. Just like every other software, it's also employing some sneaky tactics to try to influence you into spending money on it. I know, it's disappointing, but cut them some slack. WinRAR has actually been implementing ads into their services, especially with its mobile app. For years, the only ads WinRAR users encountered were the reminders about its infamous 40-day trial, which never truly expired. But when WinRAR came to Android, the company embraced in-app advertisements. And guess what? They can charge a lot of money for it. Why? Well, because of the fact that they're the #1 software in their space. Because of the fact that this was, in part, because it just let people use it for free forever. Advertisers would die to have their hands in this almost legendary program, and so they pay a lot for the space. Users, of course, have the option to disable ads, but there's a catch. They must pay a fee to do so. This dual approach means WinRAR earns from both advertisers and users willing to pay for an ad-free experience. And it's pretty similar to what you see on software everywhere else. But it's not like the program only uses ads. The pop-up reminding you that WinRAR's trial only lasts 40 days after you passed it is itself a tactic called nagware, where the reminder pops up as a gentle reminder that maybe you should consider buying the program. Instead of the harder tactics like just not letting you use the program, soft tactics like these are more accepted by consumers, even though over time they're as much, if not more, effective than hard walls. Some people eventually get annoyed at these pop-ups and pay to make them go away, but others are swooned over by the concept of reciprocity that we talked about earlier. In fact, even for the people that get annoyed by the pop-up, paying for the program still feels less impactful because of the fact that they made the conscious choice to pay and weren't forced into it. All of this means that WinRAR converts a surprising amount of people into paying customers out of just random acts of generosity. In fact, I even did it in the script back when I said, cut them some slack. And WinRAR's approach and ascent to its position today is a good lesson for businesses and startups as a whole, even if infinite free trial isn't sustainable for everyone. Accessibility drives popularity, as making the software freely available ensures widespread adoption and brand recognition, and targeting monetization towards specific actors, like businesses, while letting others use the software for free, like personal users, is something that can make you a significant amount of money while also giving you loyalty amongst your users in this era of seemingly infinite subscriptions and companies trying to get as much money out of you as possible, which coincidentally I've investigated in this video here.